New Peerless pole mount PCM 150. As you can see, it's a single joist mount, super simple. And what I love about it, it's actually got adjustment. So let's go into this. If you're just doing like a 55 or 65, this would be perfect. It says it does up to a 90, but if you're using outdoor TVs, make sure you go by the weight, because outdoor TVs get up there quick in weight. So let's go ahead. We're going to go up top and measure for a joist. Then I can show you how easy it is to mount this up. Time to find our beam. Right there. So now, as I can see how it's lined up just like that. I can tell that's my 2x4 because that's a 2-inch right there, and I know it's going this way. This is important so you know which way to articulate that wall mount in there. So now that we know that, again, it's right there, I'm going to mark right there and the back side with tape so I can line up the screw. Just like that. Like I said, I know my beam is going that way because I've checked. If not, I'd have a piece of tape there and a piece of tape there to show that the beam is going that way instead of that way. As we can see, if we turn this sideways, this is a cathedral mount. What does that mean? Let's say you had a roof that was slanted. You would mount the mount like this, and see, now the pole would be aiming straight down because it would go through this swing bolt. The main bolt would hold it up, and this would allow it to swing, and then you could lock it in afterwards. So that way the pole is allowed. This is not so you can put the TV on some sort of angle or anything like that. This is literally so you can mount the mount on an angle and still have the pole going straight down. As you can see, we will be using right here and right here because we have that forward-facing beam. As you can see, I have 2 dots up there. Make sure you leave a 1/4 of an inch gap, I would say, so that way you can put your plastic covers on easily. You could go probably down to an 1/8, but I don't suggest it. Keep in mind, if you have that sideways beam and you try to put 2 bolts through here, you will end up not being able to put the plastic covers on, because that's where they go through and screw onto. Alright, before we put those 2 thumb screws in and the 2 plastic pieces, as you can see, I have put the pole back on. I didn't show you guys because it's super easy. But before you tighten those bolts down, let's go over what you should do. If you have any angle whatsoever, this is the time when you put your level on. As you can see, it should be pretty darn level, which I am. Put your Allen key in and tighten it when it's level. Now, see how the cathedral mount has that angle on it? I've chosen to put it to the back. Some people might put it to the front. Why? Because if you loosen those 2 bolts in the winter, you can technically swing your TV up and strap it to the roof if you're worried about it getting hit by weather. Again, I wouldn't suggest this. It's just, I know someone's thinking it and they might want to do it, so there you go. Just be careful, because again, panels these days are really fragile. So go ahead, level and tighten those up, and we'll put those plastic covers on. I cannot stress enough, these are not drywall anchors. These are concrete anchors. Let's say that was a concrete beam up there, and you're like, oh man, I have a concrete patio and I want to mount it. Well, you would mark out 4 holes in the concrete, and then you would drill a 3/8 pilot hole with a masonry bit and a hammer drill. And then you'd go ahead and tap these guys in and just thread your bolts in like I show. Again, 3/8, tap them in, tap these in with a hammer, and then you would just tie the screw in there and it'll do its job. See how it's got the tilting part right there? Make sure the tilting part is aimed up. You're going to slide this onto the pole. After you slide it onto the pole, slide this on right behind it, just like this. As I hold this up and again, tilting part up, slide it straight up, put this on with the feet aiming down, or I should say the eyelets. Slide the bolt through the eyelet, and then put the nut on the other end. No washers needed because these act kind of like washers. And then you're seriously just gonna bolt this down as tight as you can get it. Just try not to squeeze the pipe. This is kind of a choose your own adventure. You can either use the screw-in one, which uses an Allen key, or this one, which you wind in by hand. Why would you use either or? Well, if you use the one that you wind in by hand, you can simply unscrew it and then turn this towards the hot tub if you wanted to do that, or angle it into the yard. If you don't care about doing that and you're like, no, it's a fixed position, I want it to stay like this all the time, then go ahead and use the Allen key option, screw it in there, and never think about it again. The reason why you would also want to do this, and make sure you always crank this down by hand, is if a windstorm rolls in, you don't want your TV swinging around like a fan blade because you didn't tighten it in. The last screw outside of your TV mounting package is going to be this. This is so we can drop that and you can have two bolts holding the shaft up. That's the best way to put it. This is going to slide up and down, as you know, to bring the TV lower or higher. At this point, we're at our highest. I think we're going to drop it one down, only so that way we can get both bolts in. So if you go to the back side of the shaft or the pole, go ahead, take the bolt all the way down, and then you can adjust it to the height that you are looking for. Like I said, take out the top bolt. When you drop it down, you'll be able to put both bolts in right here because it'll be up too high. It'll be up, this bolt will be up here, so you won't be able to access the second one. When you drop it down, you can then put them both in, and now you can tuck your wire down here. So if you have any wires now, tuck them into the tube like a power wire for your TV. If your power wire is attached, what I always suggest doing is drop a string down here and just have it down here. So when you put your TV up, you can tape and tie everything onto that string, pull it up, and plug it in. Congratulations, that is how you do that part of the mounting. Now, to do it on the back of the TV, I don't have the TV here yet, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. I always like to do this demonstration because it shows it best for when you're looking at the back of your new TV that you're mounting outside. You will have 4 screw holes. What you need to do is take said bracket and do this. Put it on the back, screw hole. I always do the 2 top ones first, just so you can get it perfectly aligned. Now, this is important. When you go to do this, make sure you push up. Why? Because the TV is naturally going to pull down from its weight. So if you push up, it'll lock the bolt at the most bottom it can go. And then you can tighten it in, and just make sure that you also, before you tighten that in, make sure you put in your 2 bottom screws. Once you've done that, you're good. Also important, hand thread in the bolt without the bracket first to make sure it does not cap out, meaning it doesn't cinch down all the threads, because if it does, and then you go in there and you try to really crank it with a screwdriver, you'll crack your panel from behind. So you should probably grab like 4 or 5 threads maximum. Some of the Samsungs, it grabs almost less than that. But again, just want to put it out there just like that for you. Make sure you put those in. Once it's on, let's pretend our TV's attached. It's easier to show you this without the TV attached. Watch the angle of the hook. You and your friend bring the TV in. It has to go in like that. From there, put in your 2 safety screws on the bottom. Before you tighten them all the way, you can get them pretty close to cinched, but not quite, and then you can slide it a little bit, but keep in mind that's a big pole, and what will happen is if it's not sitting directly in the center, it'll actually start to lean with the weight of the TV, or it can. It's just because of, well, you have a lot of leverage with a big long pole like that, because we all know what that's like, right? Anyways, from there, that's all there is to it. If you're wondering, well, what kind of screws do I need for my TV? I'll give you a quick gist of it. M8s, which are the big guys, are usually for Samsung. M6s are usually for LG, Hisense, and a lot of other ones. With a lot of outdoor TVs, they're so heavy they will jump up to M8s just to hold the extra weight. But those are your major categories. You should not need these big long guys unless you have a very old TV. Anyways, I hope that helped you install that wall mount, and I hope it helped you for mounting your TV. Thanks again for watching. Press the like if it helped you out, and subscribe for more.